What's up? What's up? Good morning. Happy Thanksgiving. I'll show a little skin here, just to get the numbers going. May you all have a good turkey day. And thank you for all the love and support for my wasn't a comedy special. People are congratulating me on my special, but the special will be out. Well, the special will be filmed at some point in January. It's hard to film. I get a location in from now to the end of the year. But to catch you guys up, the last year and a half, I've been filming a documentary on why I don't have a special. And I wanted to get some actual stand up out there. This is like a tease, a little prequel of sorts to the special. But thank you for all the likes and the retweets and all that stuff. It helps, you know. Every little bit helps, and had a few popular people. I think the Iron Sheik retweeted my post, and Sam Tripoli, Kyle Anderson. So it helps. So I'm a one man soldier, but I don't mind it. I'm like Rambo in the hardware store. I walk alone. And I'm like Schwarzenegger's team in Predator. I work alone. Speaking of work, I'll be at the Comedy Store tomorrow night, Friday night, in the original room, 11:30, I believe. But because everyone runs the light, it'll probably be closer to 12:30. And if certain unnamed comics show up, might be closer to 1:30, but that's all right. What football games are today? I don't even. I'm a hockey guy, really. I know the Kings play tomorrow night. I'm a Steeler man, as you guys know. So, although I love streaming on YouTube, what I don't like is the NFL package being on YouTube. I think it's like double the price of DirecTV. I don't get that. So I'm lucky enough where the Steelers are pretty popular, so they get about 60% of their games on national television. So I wasn't going to pay $450 to watch maybe four Steeler games that I wouldn't get to see normally. Shout out to Sting. To my Sting gloves I bought at AEW. There we go. I like this jacket he had on at Full Gear. Custom. Sting and I have a lot of things in common. We're both close in age. I was making fun of Sting for being old, and my friend's like, you're only 10 years younger than him. That drove it home. But him, Adam Copeland, and Darby Allin had these really cool custom jackets. And yes, I've already made an inquiry to the company. We'll just leave it at that. So I hope you guys enjoy your turkey day. Don't overeat. You don't have to eat like a slob to enjoy the holiday. And I'm going to a family function. So I thought I would get a mid-morning stream in. Thank you to the two people listening right now. Because two's better than one. and 1 is better than 0. So I appreciate all fans, all chat rooms, big or small. I made the unfortunate error last night of thinking to myself, you know, I think I'll go on Reddit and just put my name in the search engine. Big mistake. Never again. You could win the Powerball and go on Reddit a minute later and be depressed. I'm still not quite sure what that site is for. I think it's like a troll site. Like, there doesn't seem to be a lot of happy people on that site. Like, I know it's the internet, but man, there are some grumpy grumpsters on that site whose sole purpose just seems to be to shit on people who are more successful than they are. Kind of like chat rooms. I realize this chat room right now is a little light on participation, but I'm a professional talker. I can talk for an hour with no one in chat, no problem. I don't want it to be like that, but I realize people probably aren't watching too many streams. They're watching football, they're watching the Macy's Day Parade, they're watching the news. I think tomorrow's the ceasefire between Gaza and Israel, or Hamas and Israel. It's crazy to me that they could just go, okay, we're going to stop shooting from 12 to 4, but at 4:01, you better clear out. So that's something to keep an eye on. Hostage release day tomorrow on lunch break from the bombs and explosions and tunnel raids, and what a mess over there. But such is life in 2023. And I hope you guys had a happy 2023. And here's to a 2024 that you get all your dreams. You get all the love that you deserve. And I hope the same for myself too. Good AEW Dynamite last night. Oh, we got some people. Oh my God, Kenny Lyon, the legend of the LA comedy scene. Uh, Kenny Lyon's the only person I think have been banned from the Comedy Store on 3 different times. I mean, that's saying something, to be honest with you. Boulder Johnny, Johnny Boulder, can't wait to see you party in the White House. Only if RFK Jr. wins, and he ain't winning. He's only got like 7% of the vote. Trump will be the next president. Clip it. November 23rd, 11:33 a.m. Yeah, but awesome people don't win the presidency. It's the biggest bullshitters who do. And there's no better bullshitter walking the planet than Donald Trump. Well, maybe Gene Simmons, but he's not running. I mean, sadly, The Rock would win probably. If he got into the presidential race, The Rock would win the White House. Imagine that, having a president like who's jacked. We've never really had that. I mean, Obama's lean, Trump's a little on the pudgy side. Bush, he had a body of like a golfer. Reagan, I don't think he worked out a day in his life. Carter, he was just a peanut farmer. Uh, Sorry that his wife died. I would not be surprised to see Jimmy Carter go within the next 2 to 3 months, because usually when you're an older person you lose your other party in life, you go pretty fast after. I mean, when my mom died in January 25th, dad died March 23rd. And what started that downfall was their dog of 21 years, Sheba, the Yorkshire Terrier. Uh, she died, I think, November of 97, and then they died early 98. So that goes to show you how much dogs mean to people. So, I'm not trying to be, sad on Thanksgiving, just, you know, uh, it's part of life, I guess. I'll be a wreck myself when Lois goes, but, we won't talk about that. And probably happy Thanksgiving to you. Just thought I'd do a quick stream. I got nothing really important to say, to be honest with you. But when the energy drink kicks in, my first instinct is that, hey, I think I'll stream, um, and see who's up, who's out there, who's not watching football. I mean, I guess you could watch this stream and watch football. Right now, I'm in a dark living room. I might play a game or two of Madden. People have been asking me what I think about the PlayStation 5 I got. I gotta be honest with you. Like, I have 6 video games. I have the AEW game, which, the exploding barbed wire match is pretty fun, but other than that, it's pretty rudimentary when you compare it to WWE's game. I mean, someone made a character, an Earl character in the WWE game, and it looks like me. I mean, it is like they made me and Sting a tag team, and we go up against Kamala and the Ultimate Warrior. And I mean, it looks like you're watching a real match. They got the visor on and my shorts and like a Kiss T-shirt that I would absolutely wear. Um, so the AEW game's pretty amateurish. Like I was telling someone at Full Gear, because I said I'd like to be a writer on AEW. I think I do a really good job because I'm a wrestling fan, but I'm a smart fan. It's not like I'm saying, "Well, make Sting the champion." He's 64 years old. It probably isn't very believable, even in the wrestling world. It's like, okay, I don't think Sting could beat up MJF in like right now. Um, so, but the video game is not very good. Like I would have told Tony Khan, don't release this video game. It's just not good enough. How does Kamala do the figure four leg lock? He doesn't. He does the quadricep lockout. What up, William Zoom in the house? People slowly coming in. I was just talking about the video game. I'm doing a PlayStation 5. It's not an official review, but I paid full price for it from Amazon. So the AEW game's not very good. I mean, it's fun if you, I guess, like to smoke weed and you know, I would recommend just going right into the exploding barbed wire match. That is pretty fun. I mean, it's a little too graphic, I think, for kids to play. Like, I wrestled as Kenny Omega against John Moxley, and if you touch the ropes at certain times, you get electrocuted. Like, it's like, I don't know what's going on. But it's pretty bloody too. Like when I think Moxley ended up beating Omega because I don't know about you guys, but when I play a video game, I don't really read the instructions. I just figure it out. Uh, like it took me half a season to figure out how to call timeout in Madden. It's just the top button. And I still, after a few hockey games, don't know how to shoot. I literally just run the puck into the goalie with the player and hope it's pokes by him. So I would say that the AW video game that gets a C minus. It's not very good, to be honest with you. Madden gets an A minus. Really, I give Madden an A plus. Rarely in life are things perfect, but Madden is the only game I have that I want to play more. The baseball game is fun, MLB 23, but it takes too long. Like each game is like 40 fucking minutes. Like I don't have that. I mean, well, I take that back. I do have the time. Uh, um, that's cool though, and probably your last console was Xbox 360. I never played it. Um, and then what else do I have? The golf game is pretty cool graphically. I mean, it's not that bad. It's not that difficult to play. Hockey, which is my favorite sport, I don't know. I still like it. It's pretty realistic, but it's just too hard to figure out all the controls. Like I remember, like Blades of Steel and early versions of NHL EA Sports game was X was shoot, square was pass. That's it. And I think the circle was to skate faster. Now you got to do all these weird combos and like I don't know. It's just like I don't want to think that much when I'm playing a video game. I just want to play a video game. Be a way to um, forget about the stressfulness of stand up comedy. The soccer game, it's kind of like hockey. There's a lot of buttons you got to hit in the right sequence, the shoot and pass, and um, I don't know. It's okay. I mean, visually, it's pretty good. Um, and then I guess that's all I have. I only play the sports games, um, so I don't know about like Call of Duty and World of Warcraft. I used to have a friend. It was so entertaining to watch this guy play Call of Duty with kids because he did it online. I only play against myself. Um, I don't want to play hockey with someone else, but it's man, those well, they're not. Well, I guess they're video game chat rooms. The racism and like the taunts and because I guess in like Call of Duty you can go in and play as a tag team or a unit, and inevitably someone from the unit starts killing off his own members, and people get pissed. Like it's pretty funny, but then like you're hearing N bombs and the F word and like it's like who would go into this for fun? And my buddy was probably about uh I mean he's probably 35 and he's playing against like teenagers. Like it's just a weird dynamic. That's just people wishing me a happy Thanksgiving. Um, yes, they should make a game on navigating the LA comedy scene. Call it Predator. But I'm the bad guy for talking about it. Um, I mean, dude, William, I was shocked at the language that was used uh, on, I think it's Call of Duty, whatever the big war game is. Um, I was just like, what? Um, I mean, when I was a kid, I played what video game system? I had them all. I was a kid, in television. That was pretty fun to play. Like in television, if you hit a home run, it wouldn't like go up in the air and like a regular home run would. It would just travel along the bottom of the screen and go through the fence. But at the time, I thought this is the most innovative game I've ever played in my life. Tecmo Bowl. I had the Odyssey. A very rare uh, audio or video game system was Odyssey by Magnavox. And the tennis game was literally just two stick figures with a little ball, and it wouldn't even go up in the air. Like it was like in television, it would just go through the net, like it was craziness. But at the time, I'm like, this is the greatest video game ever. And then I had the regular, Atari, and ColecoVision. Um, what was it? The first game I really enjoyed playing with my friends, we would have, like, baseball parties. Yes, Pong was up there. It was like Pong, the Magnavox tennis game, but, it was, RBI baseball. I developed a hack, um, with, I pitched a couple no hitters with the same pitcher, Tim Burstis. I think he played with the Oakland A's, but he was kind of a sidearm pitcher. So if you lined him up, this is when you could move the pitcher on the mound to the right or left. If you lined him up on screen, stage left, but my right on the screen, and his sidearm would cut across the plate. If you did it with good cohesiveness, he was unhittable. Um, I mean, yeah, I was just a little shocked at the language, William. I mean, it was just like, Jesus, man, this is like, and it's very like almost like a pedophile type vibe. Like you've got my buddy who's not a pedophile, but like, he's 35 and he would get pissed at these kids, who were like, I don't know, it's hard to tell how old they were, but you could tell they were probably around, I would say 13 to 16. And I don't think a 35-year-old should interact with a 16-year-old in any form, but especially online. Um, so, uh, and then I didn't get into video games. When I kind of lost the love and my friends grew up of RBI baseball, Blades of Steel was fun because you could make people bleed. It's like that scene in Swingers where I think Vince Vaughn uh, playing as Jeremy Roenick checks Wayne Gretzky and he bleeds from the head. They, I don't think they do that anymore in video games. But and then I don't know. I took a break. So I mean, when I bought the PlayStation 5 a couple weeks ago, I don't think I'd played a video game in 20 years. And it is insane, even in the games I don't like, that the graphics, like Madden, I feel like I'm playing a real football game. I'm controlling the Kenny Pickett. It's so realistic. And in hockey, uh, I guess they put like these magnets and cameras on players and they have them skate, in an empty rink. And so all the moves are really what players would do. So it is realistic. I don't know. For some reason I don't like the hockey game. I want to play I think RoboCop. They have a video game out for RoboCop for PlayStation 5. Apparently, the Predator video game, my friend Mike Black said I would love it, but it's not made for PlayStation 5, only PlayStation 4. So, and I used to play the Star Wars video game back in the day. I forget what it was. Return of the Jedi, I think. Um, and then I'll always play the sports games every now and then. But of the games I have now, Madden is really the only one that I like, that I will play, like, a couple times a week. I'll probably get the WWE game, um, but I don't really watch WWE, so I don't really care about the characters, but, maybe I'll just make myself as that character, and, yeah, yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I'm so untech savvy that I don't, I don't understand that world, but I'm sure, like, I remember the last time I played a hockey game, you could import, like, this guy figured out a way to import rosters from, like, the Russian league, which was kinda cool. But this guy had a lot of time, so he actually made the player ratings and, like, you could play, I think what team Kovalchuk was on when he went back to Russia, and, he had a hard shot, and he was a little slow, but he still had the shot, and they had fights, and it was, it's amazing some of the people out there with the technical ability that they have. Um, oh, you can play PS4 games on your PS5. See, I didn't know that because when I went to GameStop uh, on Sunset Deep into Los Feliz, the guy working there made it seem like you couldn't. But so maybe I'll check it out. I mean, because my friend Mike Black, he's what you call a video game snob. He said I would love Predator. So, or maybe I'll hire someone to make a game on the LA comedy system, call it Predator. Predators, more like trust me, there's more than just one. Believe that. And then I get told to be quiet about it. I love comedy. So, or maybe I'll make a video game about uh, Reddit. Never again will I put my name in that search engine. I mean, it's bad enough when you look yourself up on Google, but it's still like relatively positive. Um, but I think the first thing that comes up when you just put my name in Reddit is Earl Skakel sucks. What? But then they backtracked a little bit. They're like, well, if anyone has any video of him being funny, let me know. Like, you either think I suck or I don't. So, so I sent him the link to my comedy thing I released yesterday. Hey, get some numbers. I mean, it is doing better than most of my videos, but I still haven't quite cracked the algorithm yet. But that's okay. I'm not going away with this streaming stuff. I do enjoy doing it, and I think what I'm trying to figure out is a consistent time. I really am the Yarmir Yager um, comedy. But he's broke. Like that's why he's still playing. Like he had a gambling problem, so that's why he's like. But he's still pretty good. I always felt bad for that kid who died a couple years ago. He was playing with Yager, and he was a fan of Yager, and like he bumped into him, and it caused a heart. Like I think he had a pre-existing condition, but Yager was the one he bumped into, and he had the heart attack and died. Um, Yes, I am not a teen girl. You're not going to crack the algorithm. Probably not, but I'll keep doing it. I mean, I think from what I understand about the algorithm, if you just get that one video, that cracks. Um, Comedy Store set was great. Oh, thank you. Uh, I mean my average stream views are, a little over 100, 150 in that range. But the Comedy Store set, I think it's up to, like, 350. So, although most people would be like, "Bro, you only got 350 views." The way I choose to look at it is, "Hey, that's 200 more than my regular views." So, I'm not saying I mean, I wish it was I thought it would be up around 1,000, to be honest with you, just because I had some big name comics posted on, what was it, in their Instagram stories, and a lot of people retweeted or posted it on their own uh, on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. So hopefully, maybe over the holidays, it picks up a little steam. Um, and my friend Jordan showed me the proper tags. So anytime I stream, people looking for AEW content, stand-up content, comedy content, roast battle, even. Although that's not my life anymore. Hey, I'll take some roast battle fans in there, you know, even though how I feel about the show, I still feel that way. You know, I actually asked them, I messaged their Instagram account the other night. I'm like, hey, how come none of my battles ever get thrown up here? I mean, and you guys, like, constantly showcase, like, these open mic comics who, like, came to the show a year ago, and they just sent me that video. I don't know if you guys saw, but about a year ago, I did a, current state of roast battle, and, here's what I don't understand about who I don't even know who runs the account, to be honest with you, uh, is the whole show is based on bullying. I cut a funny wrestling promo on roast battle, and they're like, "Yeah, I don't think so." This business is wackadoony doon. Yeah, yeah, no, I love it. I mean, 8 people in here right now. That's a lot for me. Um, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, hopefully one day it's hundreds of people. Uh, so I do appreciate the 8 who are listening and, uh, I know. But I mean, if you look at even though I was talking poorly about the show, William, it was a funny wrestling promo. Like, it was funny. But the crazy thing about LA comedy is I can't tell you how many people come up to me and go, "Hey, that video was great." I was like, "Well, why don't you retweet it then?" Because I wanna open up for Jeff Ross and Brea." I actually did a second one that, was way too hot. Um, you know, I'm getting some family members texting me, let's just see. No, I'm not gonna see what they're saying. Um, Out of control. Uh Well, I mean, it's roast battle, so I was roasting roast battle. Like, I would think they would deep down dig it, but, I'm too real. I keep it real. So, you know, it's just how I am. The older I've gotten, the more honest I've become. So, and the more fearless I've become. Like, I probably wouldn't have released that stand-up video a couple years ago. I would have been too afraid to get trolled on it or to have someone say I suck or this guy sucks. Now I mean, I'm not gonna say I don't care, like, we're all comics, like, if we didn't care a little bit, we would just do stand-up in our living rooms. So, it's like Gene Simmons, he says he doesn't care what the critics say. I guarantee you he's the first person to read a review to see what they said. So, once again, thank you for the, mostly positive feedback on the prequel to a special. Um and special is coming soon, but it is hard to do it all on your own. I mean, I have 2 people helping me, Ryan O'Neal and the great Pistol Pete Lazarus. uh, so it's but I'm doing it all on my own. I'm not asking people for money or GoFundMe or any of that bullshit. So I will never panhandle for money online, ever. So even some of my favorite bands, Quiet Riot, their documentary was basically made by asking fans for money on, I think it was Kickstarter. Uh, yes, Gene does care about the money, and he made a lot of it off of me at their last show at the Hollywood Bowl. I'll tell you that much. So, um, but I don't hate. Like, he provides a product, I like it, so I have no problem paying for it. Um, you know, it's like I go into a Kiss concert knowing what I'm gonna get. A little bit of lip syncing, some backing tracks, some canned vocals. Yeah, but I don't know. I just feel that um, asking people for money to fund your special, pay for it yourself, and then charge people for the special. Like, I'm not sure what route I'm going to take in terms of because what the tentative plan is, the last year and a half, we've shot probably 30 usable hours of documentary footage, interviews with me going to my childhood home and grade school and high school and any place that was meaningful to me and basically talked about why I don't have a special. So that's going to be the first part of it. And then the second part is going to be the special. So we don't know if we're going to just put it up on YouTube. Obviously, I would love it to be on Netflix, but that's a tough ask. It's not impossible, but it is. I mean, listen, Matt Rife, to be honest with you, wasn't getting booked anywhere 3 years ago. He was just hoofing it out on his own, and he ran a show with his friend Paul Elia at the Laugh Factory, and that really was about the only place he was getting booked. Now he could play any room in the world, so it can be done. Uh, oh no, I know William, but I mean, I would feel. Did you ever get your Vinnie Vincent box set? No, I did not. I did not. Um, But I would feel bad, say let's just say, in chat right now, there's 9 people said, "Hey, each people, if everyone gives me $100 in chat, I can have a new, background. I can buy a new neon sign, and, um, I yes, I got the box, I just didn't get the set." Um, it's just I don't know. I don't feel right about asking fans to fund my special. But I won't have a problem saying, "Hey, here's my special on YouTube." Like I think Ari Shafir did it where you could donate what you want. You could pay $1 for it. You could pay him $100, pay him $50. Just pay what you want. So that's why when I hit the super chat level, um, which I'm pretty close to, I'm not going to ever say send me money or I won't answer your question. My attitude with super chats will be unlike what, it is in the Dabbleverse where people kind of, it's like, I've said this before, but it's like online panhandling. Uh, hey, I'll answer every question in chat. Or, I mean, I guess if there's like in one day 100 people in chat, you can't answer every question. But like, if you want to super chat me, don't think of it as a donation. Think of it as, like when I super chat Kevin Brennan or Melton or uh, Chad, I'm like, hey, you guys are providing me content. Here's a thank you. Think of it as a thank you, Earl, for being funny. Uh, so that's how I'm going to approach that. I mean, it's embarrassing some of these people who like are new to the dabble world and they basically beg for money from fans. You will never catch me doing that. But, well, I mean, I think it's fun. Like, I get it. Like, especially with someone like Kevin, where you have like 900 people in chat, or Shuli, you have over 1,000 people in chat. You can't read every single question. So I get the perk of saying, hey, send me $2 or five or whatever, and your check gets read next. I'm not against that, but some in that community, you know, it comes off a little bit as begging. But it's their business. Who am I to sit there and say um, how someone should run their stream or podcast or radio show or whatever? Um, I mean, I think it's a great way for comics to supplement their income, um, but I do think it's a limited market. Like, there's only so many super chatters out there, and now they're all the same group of about the 100 consistent super chatters. um, you know, at one point they're going to get tired of the constant bickering and the feuds in the Dabbleverse world. it seems like there's a lot of people in the Dabbleverse, but there really aren't. There's only about 10 podcasts. They've all ripped on each other where it's just boring now. Like, how many more times can you make fun of Stuttering John or Chad or Steel Toe or Kevin or, and now you've got the problem I think now is you've got fans now coming in with their shows and, the Dabbleverse world, no matter what you think of it, there's a lot of experienced comics in that world. I mean, you've got Melton's done comedy for 20 plus years. Bob Levy's done comedy for 30, 35 years. Kevin, 30 years. You know, Carl has done radio and podcasting for 20 plus years. Steel Toe, same thing. Whether you like them or not, they are experienced at what they do. So when you are a fan and you kind of you buy a microphone and a Rode podcast setup and you jump into the mix, it's usually not good. But what are you going to do? So I'm going to get ready for my family obligations. Thank you to the 12 people in chat. If you have any last minute questions, fire them off. If not, uh, thank you again for all the support for the stand up prequel to the special. If you haven't checked it out yet, please do so. Just called Earl Live at the Comedy Store. Well, I mean, William, I'll be honest with you. Like, I think Kevin Brennan has really opened up a pathway for older comics um, to make money and not have to do the road. You too, Dark Low, because doing the road sucks. Like, Matt Rife ain't doing the road. He's doing comedy. Sold out theaters, car services picking him up from the hotel to do morning radio and all that stuff. Um, but, when you're a semi-name or slightly unknown comic and you're having to do the Funny Bone in Oklahoma, and you got to drive there too. That sucks. You know, so, like my super chat money or Patreon is my voiceover stuff. Like, I'll break it down because I think we have some newer people in chat. Uh, like Kevin is killing it on YouTube and Patreon. So he doesn't have to do the road. Like, I was offered a couple months ago a gig in Florida, comedy club. There's 7 shows, $5,000. 1,000 of that was towards airfare. So 4,000 for the performance, 1,000 for airfare. So let me break that down. I live in West Hollywood. You got to get to LAX early, 2 hours early. Now, depending on what time the flight is, it takes you a half hour to an hour to get to LAX from where I live. And it's not even that far, it's just traffic. There's no shortcut. We'll say half hour. Get there 2 hours early. The flight to Florida, I think, is 4.5 hours. Back is 5.5. So you're 10 hours on a plane. 10 hours on a plane. Half hour to get to LA. So 10.5 hours already. I haven't even performed. Uh, so 7 shows. When I headline, I do about an hour and 15 minutes. If I'm rolling. Sometimes I'll do longer and sometimes shorter. Like if you're playing a casino, they don't want you doing an hour and 15 minutes. They want the whole show to be an hour and 15 minutes. So the headliner will typically in a casino gig do 30 minutes to 45. So they want people gambling. So let's just say total performance time, 7 shows for me, 8.5 hours. And then, since the airport in Florida is a little smaller than LAX, it doesn't take as long. You have to get there instead of 2 hours early, an hour early, so the half hour takes you 15 minutes. So you're literally, give or take, you're at about 24 hours to make that $5,000. When a couple months ago, I made $4,850 doing a whole season. It was a pilot season for a cartoon on a streaming network. I can't talk about it till it airs, but uh, in TV land, a pilot is something that's like a test episode, and they shop it to networks, and hopefully it gets picked up, and then you do a full season. But when they do a whole season, a pilot season, that's a good sign it's going to get picked up, because if it was so, they do one episode. So I made $4,850. So $150 less than what I would have made doing basically 24 hours of work. And here's the beauty of it. In the cartoon world, especially on certain networks, like the Jellies were 12-minute episodes, except the finale in season 3 was, I think it was a half hour. But it literally took me to make that money 2.5 hours in this seat with this microphone right there. So, but because I get asked all the time, excuse me, why I don't do the road, and that's exactly why. I'm not going to spend 24 hours getting to some club and all that hassle. I mean, I love performing live, but that's why I don't travel as much. Thank you, Dark Love, for saying Happy Thanksgiving. Is your Sons of Anarchy too edgy for special? No, because I don't say the dirty word. I hint around it. Um, I like the breast. I don't really like the drumstick. I see uh, oh, not turkey legs. I'm thinking chicken. That's all right. When you were talking, William, let me see. I mean, well, I'm in the last. There's a iconic set at the Comedy Store, and that's going on last in the main room, and it's called the Brody Spot. And before that, it was called the Holtzman Spot. And before that, it was called the Kinnison Spot. So it's a pretty neat set to have, but it's also the toughest because you're going on like that night. I went on last. Everyone but Benji, my friend Benji, who introduced me in the beginning, everyone ran the light. So instead of going on at like 12:15, which is still pretty late, I think I went on that night close to 1 a.m. So that crowd is fucking gassed. So I'm very proud of the set in terms of uh, the reaction I got. It was filmed with one camera. The audience wasn't mic'd, and it still sounds like they were. So I was very happy with how it turned out. And I watched it. I'm like, I got to release this. Now, some of that material will be on the special. But getting to your question, William, um, it depends who you are. Like, I'm loved there, so I can basically do what I want within reason. Other comics, it's like, hey, man, and it also depends where, like, someone who gets the light, you get the light on a 15-minute set at 12 minutes or 13. So if you get the light and you're in the middle of the lineup and there's still 4 to 5 comics left, if you're running the light, they will flash the light. The audience can't see it, but it literally looks like this. The light will go like that. Um, so, um, yes, if you're going on first, you'll get the light. What's V1? Y1, V1, I don't know. Oh, year 1. Well, in this case, I think that it's basically an almost certainty that it's getting picked up for a full season. They would not have done a full season worth of episodes unless the network said, "Hey, we're on board," or something close to that, as long as it doesn't absolutely suck. Because especially during the strike, now animations cover was covered under a different set of rules, so you could still do it. So I wasn't a union breaker. I am a member of SAG, but uh, networks need. There's a lot of networks out there. I mean, streaming services. It's not just Netflix. It's Amazon. It's Hulu. It's Paramount. It's Peacock. It's Fervor or Freevee or something with an F. Pluto. I mean, they need content, so it's a good time in the animation world because cartoons are relatively cheap to make. I mean, the Jellies, Augenblick Studios did the graphics, um, but if you're a skilled animator, the graphics aren't that hard to do. Voiceovers are pretty easy to do. I mean, like once you find what you're looking for, like with the Jellies, Berry Jelly, um, they just wanted a super deep voice, but they didn't want it to be just a black guy's voice. They wanted like I don't know how it sounds on the stream because my mic is obviously just the iMac mic, um, but in a $1 million recording studio with the mixing board and the Neumann mics. Neumann mics are like the Rolls Royce Bentleys of mics. I sound like Darth Vader, but there's a hinge, I guess, of whiteness in my voice, if that makes any sense. So, in my voice, I don't really have a lot of uh, variety in my voice. I mean, it's hard for me. I mean, I can do a high voice, like "Hey, everyone, how you doing?" But I'm not going to get paid for that voice. I get paid for this one. So, uh, you know, if you get hooked up with a long running cartoon, you're set. Oh, 100%. Which is why the Jellies was a little disappointing because I always thought this could be like the Black South Park, you know. But Tyler the Creator is so busy that I think he's a kid still. People kind of forget how young he is. That he gets bored easily. So I think and everything he touches is successful. So I think with the cartoon, it was just like, okay, I'm good at this. Let's do a movie now. Or let's do another album. Let's do a podcast. Let's do this. Let's do that. And they'll all be good. Um, I mean, he walked away from the Loiter Squad on Adult Swim, which was a hit um, show for Adult Swim. Like, no one walks away from a hit show. But what's a Stern mic? The Neumann? Yeah, I mean, the Neumann mic, I mean, the one I wish I could tilt the camera this way. The Neumann mic, I don't wanna bore you guys with voiceover stuff, but that's the granddaddy, big daddy mic. Uh, Earth sucks, you're out of control. I crunch it like this, and then I clear out any shrapnel with, the scented wipes. I actually once, shit in a bidet because I didn't know I thought it was the toilet. Clean up on aisle 7, if you know what I'm saying. Hold on, I'm getting a very important communique. Hold on, I gotta type this out. It's getting directions to my Thanksgiving party. Um, so yeah, I know. It was in my was it my dad's room. He had like the toilet and then a bidet, but I don't know why. I think that's why I'll never forget. I was watching the hockey game was that game. It's so weird how you can remember the most random stuff. It was like 1987, and I had never been in my dad's bathroom before. All the years, I don't know, I never went in there, and it was the 5 overtime game or 4 or 5 overtime game between the Washington Capitals and the Islanders, and Pat LaFontaine scored against Bob Mason, like, in the 5th overtime, and it was, like, literally 3 in the morning in LA. Or no, it was 3 in the morning back east, so it was, like, midnight in LA, and I was so tired, I just walked into his bathroom and shit in the bidet. Uh, yeah. Well, I mean, I hope you had a big train, if you know what I'm saying. Um, so, uh, yeah, bidets are, now I just put I have a shower head that, it's got the multiple settings, and if I feel I have any loose change back there, I stick the, water head up my ass. Hold on, I'm getting a phone call. "Hey, I'm in the middle of a live stream. What time?" "Okay, let me call you as soon as I'm done with this." See, I'll take a phone 'cause it's a landline too. I got a landline, I got a cell phone. I'm not messing around. No, I cleaned it out. I picked it up when I figured out, "Oh, this thing's not flushing and there's no water." I thought when I sat down on it, like, "Where's the water? This is gonna be a dry run." And I cleaned it up before he got there. I mean, my dad was a pretty big guy. I'm sure he took some pretty big greasers in his day. Um, I love this phone. Like, it's great. I don't know who makes it. Panasonic. I'm sure they had a video game system at some point. Um, but yeah, I miss my dad had a great room. It was a really big room and a gigantic bed, multiple closets. He had a gun closet. I'm surprised I didn't kill myself. Yeah, my dad was like a gun freak. So I can't tell you how many times I would pick up a gun, like a Glock or something, and literally go like this. No safety on it. I mean, I'm really amazed that I didn't blow my brains out. What's the last thing you ordered at a Chinese restaurant? I'm guessing orange chicken. How many times have you watched Youngblood? You have some weird questions, Earth sucks, but I will tell you, my friend Gary Fu owns Foo's Palace on Pico and I believe Robertson, if you're familiar with the Beverly Woods section of Los Angeles. And he had this great dish. It wasn't orange chicken, it was chicken and broccoli. It's just uh, uh, boiled chicken and broccoli. And and I put the hoisin sauce on it. And I loved that meal so much. Um, no, he never did. I did see them. I saw a Kiss at the Hollywood Bowl. I think I did a review a couple streams ago. I mean, like I said, no, so Kiss is Kiss in 2023. You understand that the two lead original members, Gene and Paul, are in their 70s. So if you go into Kiss in any arena, like if you go there for their last show, I think it's December 2nd at Madison Square Garden, and you're expecting Paul to sound like he did on the Lick It Up tour, you're going to be disappointed. He's fucking 70. Um, so I get the use of backing tracks and singing the track, the technical term. Um, but um, I have a good time. Now, I some of my friends are like, "Hey, they're charging what they charge. I want honesty," and like, I get that too. I mean, Kiss to a degree is like seeing a very expensive karaoke night. But I had a blast at the bowl. I mean, it was unbelievable. So, uh, but they do charge a lot of money. So I could understand people being like, well, fuck this, man. But very few bands play actually live, especially the more active bands. Like the Foo Fighters are amazing. They play live, but they're all like in like their prime years. So is Ace Solo album the best of the four Kiss guys? I have not had Chinese food in quite some time. I mean, maybe the last Chinese food I had was chicken dumplings from Chin Chin in Sunset Plaza. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a pretty good. It's an honest review. I'm not paid by the band. I say what was good about the show and what was bad about it. Is Ace's solo album? Here's how I'll break down the Kiss solo albums, and then I got to get ready for my family obligation. Um, I would say Ace had the only hit, which was a cover of Russ Ballard's "New York Groove." I think Paul's was the most Kiss-like. Like you could have put any of those songs on a Kiss album. I think Gene's was the coolest in terms of, hey, look at what celebrities I have on here. Liza Minnelli, Katie Seagal, Joe Perry. His was more like, look at who I know. And Peter's was probably the most true to themselves. He likes jazz, so a lot of it was like jazz uh, bass. But if you like Kiss, you probably don't like jazz. So I think Peter's album sold the worst. Frehley's Comet was good. He had great musicians on those albums. I mean, John Regan, great bass player. I think the drummer on the first Frehley's Comet album was Jamie Oldacre, who drummed for Eric Clapton, and then it became obviously Anton Fig. Um, and Todd Howarth is a very multi-instrument talented person. Uh, Yeah, I mean, Randy Jackson, I liked Randy Jackson when he was in fucking Journey. Uh, Probably the best bass player I've ever seen, though, is if you remember the Kiss Motley Crue related band Union with John Corabi on vocals, Bruce Kulick on guitar, my buddy Brent Fitz on drums, but the bass player, a guy by the name of Jamie Hunting, like, wow, dude, this guy had a 12-string bass. He played it like, you know, it was so easy for him. And he had this really cool, like Keith Richards vibe. So check out Union if you want a band that should have been bigger, but it was just the wrong time. Um, you know, I think in '98 nobody cared about an album from two members of Kiss and Motley Crue. Um, Earl sucks. I don't know how to answer that question. You are an interesting person, Earl sucks. Uh, yeah, I mean, there's some. I mean, Randy Jackson. He gets a lot of shit for the American Idol stuff, and Yo Dog. That's a no for me, dog. But he is a very good bass player. There's a video that Journey recorded during the pandemic. I think they recorded a song, and so they're all in their own homes, and Randy Jackson's on bass. I tell you, you want to hear a great bass line, and then I gotta go. Oh, I thought you were talking about Randy Jackson, the black judge from American Idol, and the bass player in I think the '90s in Journey. But you want to hear a great bass line when this stream ends, which will be momentarily. Go check out on Spotify or on YouTube. There's a video for it. Sammy Hagar's song "Give to Live," and Van Halen is actually doing the bass, and it's a real funky beat. Uh, yeah, I mean, John Entwistle was probably the greatest bass player ever, and then my friend, of course, probably the greatest female bass player, Tall Wilkenfeld, friend of the Comedy Store. She's look up her concert she did with Jeff Beck when she was 16. Like it's pretty spectacular. Good morning, good afternoon, Jordan the Lion. The stream is about to end, Chief. Where were you, Weezer? Um, so I think we got a few new people in the chat. Happy Thanksgiving to you, or sucks. I enjoy your eccentric questions. I'll answer your question. Being I would rather be above the surface than below the surface. So I'll say it's scarier. But when the Northridge earthquake hit, I lived on the 19th floor. If you've heard me do the Fay Ray joke, you know the story. It was very scary being that high up, and um, the building was on rollers, so the building was literally going like this. And then I moved like a month after that earthquake. I couldn't sleep at night because any aftershock, the building would shake like that. So then I went to the first floor, and it was probably scarier on the first floor because I thought, oh man, if the building goes down, I'm going to be at the bottom. Well, yeah, I mean, a Flea's amazing. I mean, there's so many good. No, I'm not doing a set at the Laugh Factory today with the homeless. Um, I mean, there's so many good. I mean, Gene Simmons is a good bass player, but his image is just that of being a pussy hound and the money and the toys and the merchandise. But if you listen to some of those early Kiss albums, uh, he had some nice bass lines. I mean, Plaster Caster, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Yeah, I mean, we could go on. I mean, bass players there's so many good ones. Juan Crochet from Rat is a versatile bass player. Who else? Kip Winger. Like that's a band who gets a lot of shit. But if you look at Winger has a band. You've got Kip Winger on bass. I think it was Red Beach on guitar. He's a great guitar player, and Rod Morgenstein is one of the best drummers of the last 30 years. Um, so there's a lot of great musicians from the '80s glam scene, but they didn't really get the credit because of how they fucking look. Yeah, she's only 17. It's some comic's favorite song. Daddy's little girl, old enough to do ya. I mean, those lyrics don't add up. And Christine 16, that's a real, like, what are the creepiest part of that song, and there's several, is when Gene Simmons, I think right before the chorus is like, that day I saw you coming out of school, I just knew I've got to have you. Like he's talking about a 16-year-old. What the fuck? Brittany Fox wasn't a fan of Gene's songwriting. No, I think that was Black and Blue. Black and Blue was managed by Simmons Records, and they did not do very well when Simmons Records was in charge. That video Kip and Fiona did was great. Yeah, I mean Kip Winger, like he gets a lot of shit. He's kind of like the Matt Rife of metal people from back in that era. Like he was just a really good-looking guy. But if you listen to some of the bass lines on Winger albums, and even when he was with Alice Cooper, uh, you know, no, she's only 17, didn't age well. Christine 16 is incredibly creepy. And maybe the most predatory video of all time is what is it, Benny Mardona's Into the Night or something, where he's like stalking a 14-year-old. Like it was out of control. What's funny, when I met Mike Judge at the Comedy Store, I asked him about Winger, and he was like, "Oh yeah, we're friends now. We actually met in person." Winger, I mean, Springsteen was my first concert, but my first metal show was Kiss, Winger, and Slaughter at the Long Beach Arena, 1990. It's either 90 or 91 for the Hot in the Shade tour. Oh, there's a lot of creepy songs out there. Don't get me wrong. I mean, the Kiss song "Plaster Caster" is about some groupie um, uh, putting plaster on rock stars' dicks she fucked. Plaster caster, grab a hold of me faster. If you wanna see my love, just ask her, ask her. And what was that one line in it? And my love is perfection, and your love is the injection. Like, what are they talking about? I was listening to Animalize. I was on a Mark St. John kick the other night, with Kiss and that song. There's some song on Animalize where "Burn, Bitch, Burn," where Gene's like, "Bend over, let me put my log in your fireplace." It's like, what are you guys talking about? There's kids listening to this album. Johnny Cash, Air Supply, and John Schneider. John Schneider was a talented guy. Like, he gets a lot of shit because he was a good-looking guy, but he was very talented. All right, you guys, I gotta get ready for my Thanksgiving Day fiesta in Simi Valley or somewhere deep into the woods. I'll say hello to Rodney King for you and Officer Coons. Earl Skakel. I'm not sure when the next stream will be. I don't know if I'm going to do a Rampage stream just because that's kind of like AEW's B show, but maybe. I'm just pumping these streams out. None of them have really taken off, but I will say my comedy set from the store has gotten about triple the views of the streams. So, I'll take that as a win. Like I said, I thought it would be at about 1,000 views, but I think it's at 350 right now. Whereas typically my streams get about 100. I'll take it. I'm not complaining. You have a great week too, and probably everyone else stay safe. Don't eat too much, and I'll probably do a stream tomorrow. So thanks for the support. If you haven't shared or retweeted the stand-up clip, please do so. That's all I ask. That's free. And all you do is hit the button like I'm hitting the in stream button. Boink.